In this video today, I'll be discussing three main key insights which I have realized over the past few months on why I have struggled to make progress. And additionally, I'm going to be discussing an observation based on these three key insights on making progress. So, these three key insights can be applied to all facets of life, such as career, building a dream body, diet, etc. You can apply it wherever. Just as long as you want to make progress, you don't want to stop making progress, you can take this into consideration. First thing first, if you can imagine it, for example, your dream body or the career you want to achieve, etc., you can have it. So, on to the first key insight which I have for you today. If you are focusing on too many goals at one time, your attention is spread too thin to make significant progress in any area of life. For example, if you're trying to build your dream body while you're also trying to build a business, and at the same time you're also trying to run a different kind of business, you don't have the necessary skill set required to multitask all of those things and to actually build significant level of progress in any of those. And quite frankly, you're going to end up getting burnt out, and you're going to end up halting your progress even further than the little progress that you will make across all three of those to begin with. For myself personally, I would recommend sticking to anywhere between 2 to 3 things max. Anything more than that is a bit difficult to juggle, but there is a caveat to this which I will get into. So, for myself personally, the two main things that I focus on right now is building my physique, and second is content creation. And on the side, I do have my pursuits in learning how to trade forex. So those are my 2 to 3 main things that I focus on. Besides that, everything else I do, I just do at a level of maintenance to maintain the level it's at. I don't go above and beyond trying to, for example, grow my business which I have on the side beyond where it is right now. Because right now I understand the place where I need to focus is the 2 to 3 things that I've just listed. I would suggest you only add a third if it doesn't detract from the main two. For example, for me with Forex, I've been studying this for the past couple of years, so it doesn't require an intense amount of time or studying for me to be able to keep progressing in that field. So that's just to put that on the side there. So the second mistake which people tend to make, or I found myself making, is getting to a point where everything I was doing was consistent and it was no longer discipline. But then what you find happens is you start lacking the discipline to continue with the consistency that you have built. So, for example, when you have been disciplined for a long period of time and you've built that consistency, what you find is that you have adapted to the level of friction that is demanded of you. So that consistent action becomes quite easy. The moment you fall off for a moment and you decide to take longer than you should to get back on the horse, so for example, if you miss one training session, you should definitely go to the next one. If you let one hiccup turn into another one, you're going to find it much more difficult for you to continue making progress. Because the thing with progress is basically compounding interest. If you don't know what compounding is, it's basically small gains made over a long-term period of time, which amounts to a great amount of increase or gain. So, by you missing one session, one investment, wherever it is, it's not that bad. But the moment you make the decision to not have the discipline to continue with that level of consistency that you was once following, that will very much affect your progression curve far more significantly than if you just stayed consistent. On to point number 3. Once you have found yourself making progress in these 2 to 3 fields, what you may find yourself feeling, or what I found myself feeling, is, okay, I've made a significant amount of progress. So for example, with my physique, I went from November 2025 weighing 52, 54 kilos, around there, to where I'm at currently right now, I'm weighing 62.5. I'm on a bulk and I've put on nearly 10 kilos. 8.5 kilos, if you want to be exact with it. So when I got to this point, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I look good. Maybe I could slow down a little bit. Maybe I could focus on something else a little bit. So there's that, and there's also the temptation to fall into complacency. For example, maybe this is good enough. So that's mistake number 3. And now to the observation that I've made, which is talking about these three key main insights, which I have just discussed, is primarily to do with the third one, right? What I found is, with any of the avenues that I'm currently working on, when I see myself making like a milestone level of progression, for example, reaching 100 subscribers on YouTube, for example, hitting 62.5, which is the highest weight I've been at in my entire life. Just all these milestones which I've never hit. I mean, we'll run with that I've never hitting it. When I look at it, in my mind, I almost find myself thinking, this is enough. Maybe I've proved to myself I can do it. Why would I continue to go further than what I have achieved so far? And this is where most people would fail, because this is exactly where most people would quit or just throw in the towel. Because yes, there is, most people will quit as soon as they start something, because that's where there's the most friction. And I feel like the second place where most people will quit is something I'm only coming to realize now, is when you've made a small amount of progress. Not even a significant amount of progress, we can give it that. And then you look back and you're like, maybe this is enough. Because here's the truth, I haven't achieved my dream physique. I look good, I can admit that. I can give myself the credit for getting to where I have right now. But at the start of this journey, I do not imagine myself to be at this weight and calling it quits here. So no, we're not going to stop here. This is where most people would quit. This is where most people become complacent and comfortable. We're not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm going to continue bulking and stick to the plan of being peak bulk for myself personally by summer and having an insane physique by the end of this year after I do my first ever cut. So that is the whole ideology with that. Besides that, all I have to say on that observation is, I simply just ignore the temptation to become complacent and just keep my head down, keep going. Because the truth is, I feel like this is a level of self-sabotage that comes along with when you're trying to make progress. Because what you may find is, initially, hearing the idea of you self-sabotaging your own progress sounds crazy, right? You're like, why would I ever want to make my progress slow down or stop? But what I honestly think it is simply, it is the unknown, right? Because there's two sides of the unknown, I guess. There's the one where, like, if you try something new, you don't know what it could be. And there's also the side of, I guess this is something new as well. This might just be a whole lot of whatever I'm trying to say. So, obviously, it's like, what can you expect on the other side of once you have achieved all of this? And I'm going to be quite honest. I don't think there is much to expect, because life goes on. Like, you achieve a goal and then the goalpost just moves on further and you got another goal to achieve. So, let's not get all philosophical on this one, but that's where my mind's at right now. That's my three key main insights on why you won't make progress if you don't take these into consideration. If you enjoyed this video, I appreciate you tapping in. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.